We're now going on video, if that matters to you. Okay, alright, here we go. We are talking about special quadrilaterals. So this is what it looks like, and this is the Venn diagram. Okay, if I take everything inside this bubble, it's going to be a quadrilateral. So my question to you is, if I draw a triangle, do I have to draw the triangle inside the bubble or outside the bubble? A triangle. Outside. Outside. Why?
Yeah. So it's not a quadrilateral.
Because it only has 3 sides. It's not a quadrilateral. Where would I draw an octagon? Outside. Why? Because it has 8 sides. How many sides does a quadrilateral have? 4. So where would I draw a square? Inside the bubble. Now, inside this bubble, okay, so everything outside of here can still be polygons, right? So let's do this. So outside this bubble are going to be polygons. Now, if you'll notice on your worksheet, I have the draw the Venn diagram with an emphasis on quadrilaterals. This is a polygon. So the whole thing would be polygons, right? So where would I draw a circle? Just a circle. Is a circle a polygon? Outside the polygon, right? Where would I draw a triangle? Inside the polygon, but outside the quadrilateral. All right, now, once you get inside the quadrilateral, you have 3 other bubbles. You have a really large one, a middle one, and a small one on the quadrilaterals. So a really large one, a medium size, and then a small one. It looks like a bowling ball, or it looks like the Scream mask, or whatever, you know, however it is. Okay? However you want to draw those things, that's fine with me. Now, inside those, the great, really, really big one is labeled parallelograms. Parallelograms. If you don't have enough room to write the word right there, that's fine, but I tried to leave you enough space. Did I leave you enough space so far? Okay, good. So you got parallelograms there. Okay. The other ones over here, the middle size is considered a trapezoid.
Oh.
That hurt. Okay, and then the smaller one. Anybody want to guess what the smaller one is? Okay, I'll tell you. It's called a kite. K-I-T-E. There's nothing that's going to go on the inside of the kite. There's one thing that goes in the trapezoid, and then there are 3 things that go in the parallelogram. That's why it has to be a really big one. Okay, now, here's the weird thing about the parallelogram stuff. The parallelograms, it has 2 categories on the inside that interlock, and where they interlock is considered the 3rd one. So you're going to have to draw something like that. It's like 2 rings that interlock, if you will. Yeah, just and nothing else is going to go inside the parallelogram. So, okay, so let's label these. On the left-hand side or right-hand side, doesn't matter. Just one of them gets called the rectangle. And the right-hand side gets called the rhombus. It's the 4th coolest word in geometry, the rhombus. The first. Oh, actually, I guess you've already considered. You've already done the first one, but no, we haven't. We haven't done the first one yet because you haven't had it yet. So good. The second one is the centroid. I like the word centroid. Haven't y'all done the centroid? Yeah. Isn't that a cool word? Or like the orthocenter. Those are fun. Okay. All right. So you got a rectangle and a rhombus, and then the part where they overlap, or they interlock, that right there is called the square.
Are we going to draw the pictures?
Yes. All the shapes of those.
Yeah.
I was like, squirrel.
Yeah. We're going to draw them by definition. Okay, so there's your Venn diagram. Everybody good with that? Now, let me ask you some questions. Here's some really big questions. Not like in size, but in thought process. Always, sometimes, or never. Now, these are a lot better than true-false questions, but it's the same as true-false questions. The true-false questions, how many options you got?
2.
2. Always, sometimes, or never, what do you got? 3. Okay, so now your percentages gets flipped a little bit. Always, sometimes, or never is actually a much, much better gauge as to whether you understand it or not. Okay, so the question is always, sometimes, or never. A parallelogram. By the way, there is a symbol for the word parallelogram, and you'll never have to write the word parallelogram anymore. It is like a rectangle that gets pushed over. That's called a parallelogram. Square doesn't have a symbol, rectangle doesn't have a symbol, a triangle does have a symbol, kite doesn't, nothing else, no other quadrilateral has a symbol other than the parallelogram. Okay? So a parallelogram is a, I don't know, rectangle. Okay? Can a parallelogram be a rectangle? Yes. Does it have to be a rectangle? No. Okay? Now, I completely understand that you're going off of these things and you do not know the definitions of those. All you're doing is looking at this drawing and trying to decide if a parallelogram can or cannot be a rectangle. Okay? The way that this secret Venn diagram works is, okay, I'll tell you what. I'm going to take my marker, I'll take a red marker, and I'm going to put a dot. And you tell me what that dot has to be. Everybody good? Okay? Dot. It has to be a polygon. Okay? Dot. Polygon and quadrilateral. You see how that's going to work? Okay? So what about this? Polygon, quadrilateral, parallel. Alright, so now forget about the polygon stuff. Everything that I'm going to be doing is inside the quadrilateral. And you don't even have to say quadrilateral anymore. Okay? Unless that's the only thing that happens. Alright? So what was this dot now? It's a parallelogram. Okay? So is this thing a rectangle?
No.
No. Is it a rhombus? Is it a trapezoid? No. Can this thing be a rectangle? No, it can't, because it's outside the rectangle. Okay? What about that dot? Okay? Is it a parallelogram? Yes. Is it a rectangle? Yes. So can I draw a parallelogram that is also a rectangle? Yes. Can I draw a parallelogram that is not a rectangle? Yes. So does a parallelogram have to be a rectangle? Sometimes. Can it be? Yes. Does it have to be? No. So the answer to this is sometimes. Number 2. A parallelogram. Why am I writing the whole word? A parallelogram is a trapezoid. So interpret this. A parallelogram, and if you have a hard time with always, sometimes, or never, play this game. A parallelogram is always a trapezoid, is sometimes a trapezoid, is never a trapezoid. Find the verb, and then you insert all 3 of those words. So what would your answer be? Never. Never. Good. Never, ever, ever, ever. Number 3. A parallelogram that looks more like a square. Okay, so a parallelogram is a quadrilateral. What you got? Always? Always? I'll go with always. Why does it have to be always? Yeah. Because every parallelogram that you will draw is always inside the quadrilateral. And poof, that's how it works. Okay? Some students have it like this. If you have to go up, then it's always. Like a rectangle balloons out to a parallelogram, that's always. If you have to go in, that's sometimes. Like a parallelogram went into a rectangle, so that's sometimes. If you have to jump across and they're not touched, that's always a never. That's how some students have it. Anybody got any questions? No. We're done for the day. Good job.